Coming up on LUTV News, the Trump and Ukraine conspiracy is more complicated than it appears to be. President Trump says he feels it is all exaggerated.
Plus, the GM strike continues. The strikers have lost over $260 million so far, but they continue to fight.
And the Cardinals beat the Cubs in their final game of the season.
Those stories and more ahead on LUTV News. Welcome to this edition of LUTV News. I'm Rolando Dupuy.
And I'm Shaylin Davis. President Donald Trump's inner circle was publicly putting out articles around the same time he was having conversations with the Ukraine president. Last April, when former Vice President Joe Biden prepared his 2020 presidential bid, President Trump's inner circle began publicly publishing allegations about Biden and Ukraine via Twitter. 4 days after the president's first phone call with Ukraine, Biden announced he was running for office. It's not the first time that those closest to Trump have shown openness to political help from other countries. In 2016, Donald Trump Jr. had a meeting at Trump Towers with a Russian lawyer claiming to have damaging information about the then Democratic candidate Hillary Clinton.
Negotiators for the United Auto Workers Union and General Motors are back at the negotiating table after they failed to reach a deal during the weekend. This has been the longest auto strike in decades. The strikers claim that the lack of paychecks is starting to hurt them. They say they have had to give up dining out and put their vacations on hold. Today the strike enters its third week, and analysis released by Anderson Economic Group estimated that GM had lost profit of $113 million so far and is now losing around $25 million each day.
Gun violence is still an ongoing problem in St. Louis. Almost 20 children were shot this summer. LUTV's Danielle Lee has the latest.
Louis is known as the show me state to some and home to others.
Lately, the gun violence has been drawing the most attention to the city.
John Hayden. I am the chief of police for the city of St. Louis. So St. Louis has struggled to get out of this violent crime cycle that it's in, and it's at least 3 years old. We had some successes last year. We had 18 homicides less than 2017.
St. Louis is ranked number 4 in the nation's most dangerous cities to live in.
50% of our homicides are drug-related. Another 35% are centered around personal disputes, and 15% are domestic.
Homicides are up to 187. Multiple shootings happen in an hour span.
What that means, how drugs are decimating our communities. But 38 of our homicides have occurred inside of structures that wouldn't be visible to patrol.
18 kids were killed this summer.
They've been standing near adults or teens who were the actual targets when they were killed. But we've put out. You've probably seen on the news that we put out a reward for those youth. But at the same time, we still haven't made the arrests.
This is Daniel Lee, and the topic today is gun violence. In St. Louis, Missouri, they have quite a few different shootings that happen each and every day.
The city wants answers. Nowhere is safe, not even your home. I'm Danielle Lee, and I'm reporting with LUTV, and that's the latest with gun violence in St. Louis.
A suspect is charged in the death of a man who was found with his throat cut open on Saturday in South City. Police were called to the 400 block of Eichelberger at about 4:20 in the afternoon after hearing of a car crash. Officers said they found the victim next to the car with multiple stab wounds, including his throat slit open. On Sunday, police identified the victim as 20-year-old Stephen Tyrell Hill, and police have charged 26-year-old Ali Pasha Ibrahimov from South County with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Bond is also denied.
Jurors in Dallas, Texas may begin deliberations as early as today in the murder trial of Dallas police officer charged with fatally shooting her neighbor. Both the prosecution and the defense began their closing statement this morning. The prosecution argued that both Jean was not a threat to Officer Amber Geiger. Geiger testified that she thought she walked into her apartment and shot Jean, thinking he was a thief.
Straight ahead on LUTV News, St. Louis is finally getting a new look at a Ferris wheel today. Keep $15 handy if you want a bird's eye view of the downtown St. Louis.
4 warehouses caught fire Sunday in downtown St. Louis. Firefighters say the warehouses on Cass Avenues are about a block and a half long and about a block wide, giving the fire a lot of room to spread. Around 20 residents from an apartment complex nearby had to be evacuated.
First Robotics held their first Gateway Robotics Challenge at Lindenwood's Highland Arena this past Saturday. The high school level competition brings teams from the greater St. Louis area to participate in the challenge called Destination Deep Space. The challenge presented by Boeing consists of the robots gathering cargo pods and putting them into space shuttles. The challenge also presents virtual sandstorms that make the competition a little harder. Robots earn points depending on how many cargo pods they gather.
We're actually playing in the high school level. There are 4 levels. Ours is called First Robotics Challenge. We're given a 6-week time limit to build a robot to play a game as best we can. We're given the game in January, and 6 weeks from that date, we have to put our robot in a bag, and we can't touch it until we get to competition. From then, we have about 6 weeks of competition before the World's Championship, which you have to qualify to attend. From then, we go into what we call the off-season, which is where we are right now.
College is an expensive investment and it continues to increase every year. The cost last year at Lindenwood was nearly $17,000 for a full academic year. The numbers are higher this year. Reporter Chelsea Behrens has the story.
Reporting from the Spelman Center at Lindenwood University, I'm reporter Chelsea Behrens for LUTV News. So, as you know, college is very expensive no matter where you go. So, a big question is, where does all that money go?
So now for a full year, it's $18,000, but one of the changes they made is instead of breaking out all those fees, now it's all included in tuition. So really it's about the same as last year. It just looks a little bit higher because they've rolled those fees into those. So you remember the communication fees and the health fees and things you used to pay, now it's all just part of tuition. So we're very grateful to have the fees and tuition helping support efforts to give students opportunities to study abroad, internship here in the U.S., service learning, all kinds of great things that they can now do through the tuition that they're paying.
Lindenwood is working on being more transparent and open about how tuition and money is spent throughout the school. Associate Professor Deb Nicolai knows a lot about how a lot of the money goes around her program in the Arts Media and Communications.
There's a lot more transparency, there's a lot more disclosure of where money is going, where before, when I started, it was Dennis Spellman, and he was the president, and there was a general fund, and it was sort of at his discretion where money was spent. Look around. It's pretty nice here on campus compared to what it was when I started. When I was a student here 30 years ago. Just amazing. The football field. I look at the football field when I was a student and the football field now, and it's amazing. The amount of change and improvements on campus.
Type 1 diabetes is no joke, especially when you're a child in school. A Wentzville school nurse seemed to think otherwise. I got your look at the scare one child and one mother had to go through.
Any parent of a child with an illness takes extra caution of placing their child in somebody else's care. Local Wentzville mother Taylor Samples sent her daughter Avery, who is a type 1 diabetic, to class.
I saw her blood sugar kept climbing, and I asked for her to be given insulin, and they said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't do that."
The district has a medical management plan in place, but refused Avery of insulin.
To know that the people that are supposed to be entrusted with her care and supposed to be following her doctor's orders aren't doing that.
A normal fasted blood sugar for a person with diabetes is 80 to 130. Avery's blood sugar got up to 400. The nurse still refused to give Avery insulin. She said she goes by the claimed district nurse's rules of following her own discretion.
They just left her there until I came up and dosed her.
Now Taylor wants to make it known that teachers and especially nurses know how to take care of a child with diabetes.
A type 1 diabetic needs to watch their food intake.
You have to eat certain amounts of food at a certain time. You have to constantly inject yourself with insulin, with every meal, just to make sure that you're maintaining a blood glucose level that someone who doesn't have type 1 diabetes, their body would just normally regulate on its own.
A child with type 1 requires an adult to monitor their blood sugar levels.
I don't know how to dose myself, and she takes care of my blood sugar. When I'm too low, she gets me a little treat snack to help bring me up.
Taylor says Avery's nurse now takes the time to care for Avery's needs, but she had to bring in some legal help first.
I think without bringing in a legal team, they probably wouldn't have cared.
Reporting for LUTV News, Shaylin Davis.
The St. Louis Wheel officially opened to visitors this morning. The St. Louis Wheel is 200 feet tall and features 42 gondolas that are climate controlled, so heat in the winter and AC during the summer. They can hold up to 8 people and the tickets are $15 for adults and $10 for children. The wheel will be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. through October.
30-year mortgage loans are down after last week's average of 3.73 to an average of 3.64%. September has been the most unstable month since March for the 30-year fixed-rate mortgage, averaging a weekly movement of 11 basis points. A year ago, this time, the 30-year averaged at 4.72%.
Coming up, Hurricane Lorenzo is still affecting the Azores and the Atlantic. Also, we'll be taking a look at the weather here in St. Louis.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Oh, Vanessa. You gonna text her back?
Nope. I'm high. I'm gonna hit the treadmill.
You're already making good decisions when you're high.
We need to go meet the guys. I'm lit. Can you drive?
Nope. I'm high. How about they come over?
Where?
Don't make an exception when it comes to driving. If you feel different, you drive different.
Hurricane Lorenzo's intensity over the weekend was like nothing ever seen before. Lorenzo went from a tropical storm to a hurricane in a matter of days. It hit Category 5 over the weekend, but it has started to fade a bit as it approaches the Azores, which are a group of islands governed by Portugal. Now Daniel has the latest on how the temperatures have changed over the days. Daniel?
It looks like the Midwest is still high as a high-pressure system continues to dominate. Although the first day of fall was last week, summer heat is still sticking around. Let's take a look at the local map. Pretty much everywhere today it is sunny with similar temperatures. St. Louis is 82 with the heat wave. St. Charles is 79. St. Peter's is 87. O'Fallon is 88 and hot. Lastly, Maryland Heights is 85, a few temperatures less. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast. Monday or Tuesday are both sunny with no fall temperatures in sight. Monday, we have the high of 91 with the low of 72. Tuesday, the high of 92 with the low of 73. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be partly cloudy, but Wednesday, we have the high of 90 with the low of 63. Thursday, temperatures will drop with the high of 69 and a low of 49. Lastly, Friday, the high of 67 with the low of 53. St. Louis weather is so rocky, it's great that fall temperatures will kick in Thursday. I'm Danielle, and that's the latest with weather. Let's check in with Jack with the latest with sports.
Up next, the Cardinals are National League's Central Division champions. The Cubs have some problems, and the Blues' regular season is just around the corner.
Guess what? I have some news for you. There's free food right there, junk food. Do you see that truck? Oh, jeez. It's a 2 Michelin star chef. All for free, ladies and gentlemen. All for free.
Here we have a panzanella with summer vegetables and pesto. Enjoy. How we doing?
Fantastic. So what do you got going on underneath that plate there?
This food is really about to be thrown away.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with this food? Where did you get it from?
From farmers markets. They put aside the ugly vegetables and the ugly fruits.
Carrot top, soft avocados. It was all food that was going to be discarded.
Even the drink you had is made from like a little bruised peach. Did it taste a little bruised?
Great. It was good.
The average person throws away 24 pounds of food a month.
That's a lot.
Isn't that a lot? Go visit savethefood.com for more information. Thank you. Junk food time!
The St. Louis Cardinals are your 2019 National League Central Division champions. It came down to the final game of the season, Game 162. Right-handed pitcher Jack Flaherty was an absolute monster again as he held the Cubs scoreless, striking out 6 over 7 frames, allowing 1 walk and 2 hits. The Bats backed their pitcher and got him some early run support with a single from Paul Goldschmidt, scoring Dexter Fowler. Tommy Edmonds scored on the next AB on a double play ball by Marcell Ozuna. In the second inning, Cubs pitcher Derek Holland serves up a meatball to Fowler, who takes it deep to left center field for a 2-run shot, extending the lead to 4-0. Cardinals then scored 4 more in the third and 1 more in the fourth to extend their lead to 9-0. The Cardinals will play the Atlanta Braves on Thursday for the start of the playoffs. And speaking of the playoffs, the Cubs are not in them. In addition, the Cubs and their manager, Joe Maddon, have agreed to part ways at the end of the season, which ended yesterday for them. Maddon has been with the team for 5 seasons, one of which included a World Series title that ended their 108-year drought and the infamous Billy Goat curse. This ended what many Cubs fans thought would be a dynasty with multiple World Series championships. Some reports say that former Cubs catcher David Ross could replace Maddon next season. The Lindenwood women's hockey team faced off against Wisconsin, who are the #1 team in the nation, in the first of a 2-game series on Friday at the new Ice Center in Maryland Heights. The women's hockey team was looking to start off the season on the right foot. It was a tough night for the women's hockey team, as they struggled and only took a total of 17 shots the entire game. The Badgers, on the other hand, had no trouble at all, posting an impressive 39 shots in the game. The Lions got shut out in the 4-0 loss. The second game of the series wasn't much better for the Lions. Wisconsin came out swinging and scored 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game, and the Badgers had a total of 45 shots on goal in the 6-2 win. Lindenwood had only 14 shots, but did score twice to avoid the shutout. The Lindenwood women's hockey team will go to Minnesota to play Bemidji State University for the next 2-game series. The St. Louis Blues have canceled their final preseason game that was scheduled for Sunday the 30th. The Blues and the Columbus Blue Jackets were going to face off in Ohio for some fine-tuning before the opening game of the season. The cancellation came in wake of some problems with the team plane that prevented takeoff. Hockey fans will have to wait until the season opener that takes place later this week. Now that you're caught up in the world of sports, let's send it back to Rolando and Shaylin.
If you're looking for a good pizza place, don't hesitate and visit your nearest Mud. Mud has over 30 different toppings to choose, from vegan to meaty, or you could even get a pizza salad. No matter how much you want, the price always stays the same. I had the chance to talk to one of the managers and go over a few of Mud's values and best features. The interior of each Mud restaurant is unique and locally inspired. The acronym MUD in the company's name stands for Made on Demand. Its menu features pizzas made with organic dough and gourmet ingredients that are cooked in 3 minutes using stone ovens. Mud Pizza has a unique operating philosophy. Yes, they take pride in the pizzas that they make, but they know that they're good, so they focus on the people. They train their workers very carefully.
I've been working here at Mud Lindenwood for about 2 years now.
That's a lot of their values match up to mine. I like how we grow and improve every day. We have some gratitude with attitude. We're dedicated to making good pizzas, you know. Everything about this place is just dedicated to growing and being better. And we serve people. We don't serve pizza. We just use pizza to serve people. But if you feel a pizza in your soul, that's perfect pizza. And you know, I'm a fan of combining pizzas off the menu. I can never decide. So I do the what I call a Dominic Sunshine. It's a combination between the Dominic and a Lucy Sunshine. My favorite part about Mod is how much of a family we are. You can come into this place, your family, you can feel how we're family, and it's just everyone has everyone's backs all the time. There's no breaking the bond this place has.
That's it for this edition of LUTV News. I'm Shaylin Davis. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Rolando Dupuy. Have a great rest of the week.